Okay, welcome to Invest in You. Today we are live from two parts of the world. It's myself, Fredrik. I'm in Europe, and we've got David Homan along as well. So, how are you today?
I'm doing well, although I'm in the US in New York and it is
Exactly.
cold as if
Exactly.
spring.
Yes.
We went back in time and it's a really chilly winter day again here.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the same here. I mean, we had like almost like frost this morning in Sweden where I'm physically today. So yeah, it's very different. But tomorrow I will be in Dubai. That will be a bit warmer, but hotter in many aspects of life. So yeah, cool. So today, David,
Hotter, yeah, more challenging.
yeah. So David is the founder of Orchestrated Connecting and the creator of also the SOAR Connect, which is all around to be authentic and the strength of being authentic in all relationships. And you can see how this can fit into your daily life as the listener, and also how it can fit to your business. So I hope that you can take some good advice away from here. And we will dive a lot more into how David ended up here on Invest News. So, how did we end up on this podcast today?
That little magic of, you put yourself out there, you hope somebody loves you, then you hope somebody listens to you, and then
Exactly.
maybe they're still listening now.
Yeah.
And then magic happens that you don't know the outcome of, because in the
Exactly.
end, in this medium, when you interview people, I talked about what we do.
Yeah.
We rarely know the outcome that is the effect of advice. But
Yes.
my actual world is I want that to be honored. I want anyone who finds value in this to write you and
Yes.
to say, with respect to you and all the effort that you put in, I helped myself today. I helped somebody else I know because of talking about authenticity and trust.
Yeah, it's so cool when people look back. For example, you're also an author. When people like, I read your book and I tried this thing, and guess what happened? Like, it's so fun to get that like loop connected, and that you know that you have an impact, even if it's invisible out there. And what we're doing here now today is like we are just two guys hanging out, but it's like two too many. So many of you listening in. So feel free to get back to any of us as you see fit, of course. So. Without further ado, let's jump into some of the thoughts I have. Like, ideally, you as the audience will take away some learnings around why trust is really an asset, how relationships can now also create faster communication, quicker deals. Because same with being authentic online today, when everything is AI, is also super key. Something we'll dive into together with your reputation online and offline is key, and that also relates to what we're talking about, and also here helping you to get a more conscious direction in terms of your relationships can also be some ideas you will get today. So, with all of that, all the expectations on you and me, David, how can people get many things wrong in terms of just the basic networking thing?
So when you use that term authenticity,
Yes.
I know from the podcasts I've listened to, from the way I've even just be able to glean before meeting you today
Yeah.
virtually, I know what you stand for because you've done what you said.
Good point.
And a lot of people use those words. I'm authentic. I'm real. And then they're not. They're in counter to it. People say that they lead good lives, whether faith-based or not, then their actions are
Yeah.
counter to the way they describe
Yes.
themselves. So I always want people to understand that the only way that I judge somebody, how I build trust with them, is if I built enough trust to ask them to take an action to help me or to help somebody that I know. And the way in which they are curious about it, the way in which we share about it, and then the outcomes from it, that is the only way to really be authentic. And people think this is something you can do in your friend circle, maybe in a network, maybe you do it in your business. And what I would say is, for me, this is an entire way of life. And
Yes.
I came from somebody with pretty decently humble beginnings as a son of a college professor's kid in a part of northern Florida where people know the drink Gatorade or
Yeah.
maybe the rock musician Tom Petty. And now on a normal day, I am interacting with billionaires and celebrities and CEOs and philanthropists and world leaders. And I'm not interacting always just with them. I'm really interacting with the layer that they trust, the
Yeah.
layer of connectors.
Got it.
So there's a method to the madness of doing this a little differently than what people have been taught.
Yes.
And that's what I'm excited to dig into.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really like that's a fantastic reframe of what I asked, and a much better clarification on the whole purpose of this chat today. That's really good, Dave, to clarify that up front. So in today's world, social media and the doom scrolling, it's so easy to just have the connection isn't social fluff. What is the actual real connection in the time of social media to get this real connection that can actually be an asset to yourself and to the relationship as such? I know that's a tricky question.
No, it's a fun one, right? Because when I give you my answer, everyone listening is going to understand it. So let's say you pop over to London for my next event there early July.
Yep.
And you walk into this room and I greet you and I introduce you to a few people and I say, "This is Frederick. He's a first degree connection on LinkedIn." Is anyone
Yeah.
going to care? If I say he follows me on Instagram,
Yeah, exactly.
which I barely use anymore after coming out with my book, I'll get back to it
Yeah.
because my 12-year-old wants me to.
Yes.
You will instantly understand those have no validity despite being the measures
Yes.
of following of views all the right. If I
Yep.
say I posted on LinkedIn and 30,000 people viewed it, anyone who understands the metrics go, okay, for 3 seconds, somebody
Yep.
took a look.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't measure action. You can't measure friendships that way. If I say, this is my new colleague and friend, he interviewed me on his podcast, action number one. From that, I had a couple people write, they bought my book, they sent me selfies of it, and one person I helped change their life because he gave me a chance. Would you like
Yeah.
to learn about what he does with his business? There will be a multiple 1,000% return of curiosity and engagement from somebody who wouldn't respond to the first.
Yeah, exactly.
So the whole social media valuation of this doesn't equal the story of what our lives really are.
Yep.
Same way I wouldn't say to somebody, hey, like I saw your Instagram reel, seems like everything's going great. So the reality is we post the 50% of what makes us look good to the world
Yeah, exactly.
and and not what's actually going on in our lives.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, actually, the latest podcast episode we did was around addictions, and again, there's so many things that is tough in our lives, but we often don't dare to talk about it in a real way. So coming back to the social media aspect, so again, the likes doesn't matter either. And because I almost never ask for like typical like share review that's on like every video out there, because I never ask for it. Very few people have actually have reviewed this podcast, and also because it's in so many countries, it's like reviewed per country. So you're in the US, you will see a fraction of the actual reviews if you would look. And the same someone in Pakistan where I will be in 3 days from now. So it's really random, but it only takes like one person out of the three or 30,000 that has seen a video or a post that takes action, that is doing something. And ultimately, I mean, you are looking for great places where you can share your message. Maybe as a keynote speaker, I know that you're doing that, and so am I also occasionally. And therefore, it only takes that one person that actually like, hello, David, I saw you here or there, and reconnect and builds on that relationship, and then you never know where it will end. So that's a really valid point. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's good.
The other thing I'd say, right, there's no such thing as a group intro. You don't affect a mass of people. You reach one person. You
Yeah.
could do that one person, 10 people one to one, a
Yes.
thousand one to one. As a classical composer, as a speaker, as an author, like I have reached tens of thousands of people, but it has
Yes.
all been individually
Yeah.
because no one ever agrees in a group anyway.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
you just have to approach connection the way we would want it to be approached to us, which is we want somebody to impact us or we want to impact them. The
Yep.
minute you get to scale, which does matter, it's just that the message can be scaled so all of those people can find community, can find commonalities by their individual reaction.
Yeah, I mean it's great today. Before we even hit record, like I just out of respect, like how long time do you have today? And thanks again, David, for sharing your time with the whole audience. Again, it's like if you don't like manage expectations, why are people here? What can people expect? It's also very hard to keep people engaged and make them stick around. So yeah, so when you try to build trust, is it through your competence? Is it through your consistency, generosity, or how do you build trust? A high level advice for the very broad audience.
Absolutely. So, in my book, Orchestrating Connection, my
Yeah,
co author, Noah Askin, and I, who's a brilliant Harvard trained professor, a former INSEAD Paris, and then now UC Irvine,
yeah.
like we were a really interesting pair because I would spit out the dribble that when I'm in a podcast, everyone thinks sounds great. But when you look at it on a page, you're like, let me make sense of this. The Noah would
Yeah,
add the data science and the
yes,
reframing. So I'm really proud of that book. I mean, it became a USA Today bestseller. It is
yes,
still, on the virtual shelves because nothing gets to the real shelves unless you're
yes.
famous and or,
Yeah, yeah,
well,
I know. Yeah, I'll pay for
famous.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Uh, but we define the five principles that are key to building that trust and really in yourself and purposeful community. So
Yes.
I'll give you them. There's two pairs and then one in the middle. The very basics, right? And I'm going to phrase this not as lecturing as the group. I'll ask this as a question for you, Fred, right? How many times in any conference, group setting, party are people actually curious to you if you're curious to them?
Yeah.
And at any point when you decide to be vulnerable, how many people match that with their own vulnerability? Because when you are open to being curious and vulnerable, you can move the statistics from 3 out of 10 people you talk to will actually engage back with you in any
Yeah.
substantial way to, in my world, about 90%. And so, in a business context, an investment conference, somebody asked how I'm doing. I knew who they are. They're in this case, as I was in LA recently, a very known billionaire.
Yes.
And I say, social settings are hard right now. I usually thrive in them, but I lost my father in December. Half the people look at me and they go, I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah.
They tell me about their loss because we've all experienced it. And then we
Yes.
start to talk. The other half just flip their switch and they're like, well, what brings you here? Or what are you investing in? And I'm not even an investor, I'm a connector.
Yeah.
And so that audacity to be vulnerable and then to express curiosity to somebody else filters out most of the people who are going to be takers, who are going to be wastes of time.
Yep.
And it also makes you feel whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Wouldn't it be really great if you walked into a room and you felt heard, you felt seen, you felt accepted? Because events aren't structured this way. The
Yes.
ones I run for my private community are. Conferences don't do this. Even dinner parties, you just sit down, you're supposed to chit chat about the weather. Like the now is the weather always sucks somewhere and we could talk
Yeah,
about it
exactly.
forever, but we lose all the listeners on this podcast and we just started there and ended
Yeah.
there. Yet we somehow think that or what happened with a local football team or something else actually is the starting point.
Yeah.
It's not. Like you're coming in with something that you need. You're coming with something that you're not sure you want to share, you need to talk about.
Yep.
And those are the only two real reasons you can build trust. So I want to pause there, but that's that pair, that curiosity and vulnerability are essential to
Yes.
work on, to embody, and to develop, whether you're connecting with people you already know or those you're meeting for the first time.
Yeah, and to build on what David just shared there, networking, face-to-face dating, whatever it might be, especially if you're more expressive, try to tone yourself back a bit and be more interested instead of interesting. And all
Mhm.
of a sudden you are along the lines of what David just said there. So like try I hate the 2 years, 1 month, but try to push your agenda a little bit more by saying less, asking questions, and let the other person say their point of view, because why you came there, for example, the investment point might not at all be why they're there at all.
Right.
Even if it's like
And
that
and you
might be the forum. Yeah.
and you mentioned dating as part of those, right? So
Yes.
like let's take this out of the world of need to build my business, I
Yeah.
need to
Go for
get
it.
a job, whatever it might be. For all of us who at some point in our lives, if we are not unfortunately lonely, and you
Yeah.
can be alone and not lonely, but
Yes.
lonely at this time, Everyone in their life I've ever talked to has met that person that was the most enchanting, alluring, attractive, engaging. And you meet that person and you pour your soul into them.
Yeah.
They see you, they see into your soul. They are captivated. They're a great listener. You feel like something's going to be great. You give them a kiss on the cheek, you shake their hand, you hug, you say goodbye,
Yeah.
and it was goodbye because they never call you back
Yeah.
because you didn't give a crap about them. You staring into their eyes was them thinking on the other side, do they see me? Do they know me? Do they care about me? Or is this going to be just another sad person, another narcissist, another person who's not going to make me feel like I can be heard?
Yeah.
And all of us, we want it, we want to give it to others, and yet we get upset when it happens onto us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is that real
Absolutely.
strangeness of dating that's the same in any type of networking.
Yeah, and it's really funny now with all these kind of meetings, you can start to like look on the script and you can start to analyze and so on. And sometimes if you use some kind of note taker, I usually don't look into the statistics, but way back when it was like a new feature, I did like you can see how many questions you asked, how much you were speaking compared to the other person, and many times you have like think a sales meeting or investor meeting, whatever kind of meeting it might be, and you have something that you would like to, in the best of worlds, sell or influence around. The less you speak, the more the other person will appreciate you because you got like let's call it airtime or they can share their view just like David said where David's example was the not great option where you felt like this was a fantastic date. I could talk about all my passions all day long and you didn't even ask how the other person was or feel or do they even care or do they
Yeah.
also like horseback riding. Well, they didn't ask, just did your view. Yeah.
We live in a world where we want our lives to be a really majestic story, and we feel all the time
Yeah.
that like we need to present it that way, but it's
Yes.
sometimes not. And like we live with these worlds where like we have all the stuff that's horrible that you could define your
Yeah,
entire life
exactly.
of every moment. Maybe you learn from it, maybe you thrive from it, but it still sucked.
Yep.
And then when we share the world that looks great, it's actually shallow.
Yes.
If I walk into a world and I go, I'm a best-selling author, everyone's going to go, oh, great. What was it like to publish the book? And my reality was I became a best-selling author. And at the exact same time, my father went into
Yeah.
hospice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
terms of like what I care about in my life, great. I had a book. What really matters is I lost my dad.
Yeah.
And when people, if I were to present the one, what I'm doing is I'm not just hiding the other, I'm not giving other people the opportunity to go. I remember when I sold my company and I called up my dad to tell him about it. And then I realized he'd been gone for 4 years,
Yeah.
which is one story I heard.
Yes.
I heard another about a guy who literally won a Super Bowl and looked up at the stands to where his parents would have been sitting, but he had lost both of them.
Yeah. 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 I
Like
mean,
that is
yeah.
the actual humanity we live
Yeah,
in.
exactly. I'll share a couple of crazy stories linked to publishing as well. So I once had one book that I co-authored, and that also turned out to be a bestseller. But the latest two books, which I published this year, I have published it just to get it out there for different reasons. But I have not even told the world properly about it. So, to be a bestseller is not the same as a best writer. It's a marketing exercise,
Mhm.
and it's very strategic, and it's for a short time usually. Uh, but yeah, the books are out there, but a few things came in between. So I do many things. Amongst the things I juggle is uh, I also work with military operations in the area of Middle East. You can guess what my spring has been like. Not the normal one. And the last month, I lost two people under my direct command for the first time in my life. Like,
I'm sorry.
how
I'm sorry to hear
do
that.
thank you, but how do you even like? You can't say that, but I just did, and it's 100% true. And that to me has been more important than like, sure, there will be a time to get those books to number one, but guess what? That has not been my focus. And I'm happy the the effort to get them where they are. So now people can access them if they want. But like you said, like with your own dad, it's yeah, it's tough. And to be a bit naked, that's where people can actually connect with you for the first time, many, many times. So yeah, it's the first time that I'm sharing that with the world about two colleagues disappearing. I literally saw them not too long time before that, and it happened. I couldn't do anything. I was far remote. I couldn't do anything at all, obviously. Yeah. So yeah, but they trusted me as a leader. But even if they were trusting me, there was nothing I could do more than trying to support
It,
and so on. Yeah.
it's really hard to feel powerless.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
hard to
It is.
know that whether it's your life or your career or your time,
Yes.
that you're trying to give something to a greater good that may never be appreciated,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
but it doesn't mean we shouldn't.
Yeah. So doing a huge loop back to something else here. So how can we actually decide if people should even meet in the first place? So how can we decide if they should meet? Going back to being authentic, where we started.
So my unique line that I started 11 years ago for my community called orchestrated connecting
Yep.
was you had to be an action oriented natural giver that I would leave my children with, and if you weren't, I didn't want the introduction in that respect. And when I meet people, I try to figure out if I'm going to have them be held up to that standard.
Yep.
Now everyone can have any variation of this, but what matters is you have to set more intent and purpose for why you want to meet people, what you're after, what you need. And then you have to actually be doing that work, not just hoping to do it in order to maintain or build relationships.
Yep. Yeah, and also because the scarce resource of time, many people don't have the time for time wasters either. So if you really are there to try to do something, like don't beat around the bush, also be a bit proud about why you have the meeting. So do you have a meeting to potentially explore a future partnership in business? Well, if you don't tell the other person, how would they know? How could they meet you halfway and share the information that you would need to even assess if it's viable? So yeah, completely makes sense.
But let me tell you the other part, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we'll skip point principle number 3 in my book for the moment,
Yep.
and we'll talk about the last two. The way you really know once you've been curious and vulnerable, the action you ask to others. You're generous. Think about last time somebody says, "It's great to catch up. How can I help you?"
Yep.
So rare, more rare than somebody actually being curious and talking about what the two colleagues you lost in the Middle East or me losing my
Yep.
father.
Yep.
But when you built up enough trust, and this is instinctual, but you can hone it,
Yes.
that you can have somebody tell you what they need or you tell them what you need, then either side of it, what you want to ask if you're going to be helped, um, you have to be asked if you would honor that,
Yeah.
express the gratitude for what's being done onto you. And the inverse, if you were helping somebody, you want to ask if you'll be honored for what you do. Not
Yeah.
monetarily necessarily,
Yeah,
but just
exactly.
the respect of taking that. If you want to understand how true trust is built, think about the people in your life who showed up when you needed it, not when you were in a place of abundance, but when in a
Yep.
place of need, of despair, of loss during COVID, death, divorce, whatever it might be. Even, I'm about to have several teenagers in my house.
Yes.
So just having teenage girls alone, I'll need some
Yep.
help.
Yeah.
All of that, it comes down to who took action for you and who
Yeah.
didn't return your call. And those that are grateful and those that are generous, they rise
Yeah.
because there is a way to have that be not just this go giver mindset, but a system and a filter where you can filter in the ones you think might be positive for you and you for them. And then you can build community through action
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the
I agree.
others.
Yeah.
This is a systematic way to take what are individually great principles and insist upon all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and also how you communicate very much shows like how open or close you are. So very often after the initial pleasantries on the phone, often I ask like, how can I help or how can I help you today? because often people call with Fredrik problem. Okay, Fredrik can't possibly fix this, whatever it might be. It's not too rare, but it depends how you a little bit portray yourself as well, a bit. So yeah, interesting stuff.
Well, we both gave people we know permission to
Yeah.
call and to ask us.
Yes.
But even great people still view it as an opportunity that's a one-way street
Yeah.
for them to call. Every week, because I do run a really gracious community, people come with specifics about how
Yes.
they are going to help me. Not just let's catch up, I'd love to help you, but knowing I have no time, very clear specifics. And what they know is when they do it, that builds the story we have between the two of us,
Yes.
which is that story I tell others when I am meeting them at conferences and events, even my own,
Yeah.
because there's a different power in the power of story based on an action somebody took
Yes.
than the narrative, oh, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, and again, like think about the relationship. Your best friends, they're probably people you've done stuff together with. So, for example, making an effort to do something with your own family to create new shared memories is the word I'm looking for. So, therefore, you have that shared story together. So, it takes sometimes some kind of effort to make that happen, to invest into relationships, whether that's your spouse, whether that's your team at work, or if it's like a volunteering activity, whatever it might be. Yeah, those shared times are the ones you will remember later, and that they also can recall. So yeah, that makes sense. And that with that shared story and sometimes the shared hardship, that can be a very unifying and trust building activity as such.
I just want to clarify, right? You're speaking
Please.
as if it potentially could be.
No, no,
I
no.
can
I'm
tell
saying
you from studying this
no,
globally,
no.
like, I just want
I
to make sure
say
everyone
it
listening
is.
knows
It is. Yeah.
potentially people would do it because many people do not,
Yeah.
but there's a 100% return in the long term
I agree.
for when you have been generous and actionable with the people around you and
Yes.
intentional for what you need. Because what we really want, we want somebody to sell an investment into our company, to buy something from our business, to hire
Yeah.
us as a coach without us having to spend as much effort.
Yeah. Exactly.
And everyone talks about this at the warm referral from the weak tie. There's all the social science of it in my world, which is what I built my startup Store Connect around.
Yes.
What if it was just trust based? What if the
Exactly.
top level of your trust linked to somebody else's top level? And, just the other day, I connected a friend. He's a pretty prominent family office in the UK. And one of his major focuses, his ask of me, to invest in sports for women and girls.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I called up another friend who he and his wife, who's a global humanitarian figure we all know by one single name, her first name, they're doing the same thing.
Yes.
So I shoot them a note and I say, I need you to connect. They both trust me. I
Yes.
bridge that trust. Something will happen, not necessarily what I intended, but if you start with that level of trust because you insist upon people elevating how they treat each other the way they would treat you,
Yep.
you start at a higher level every single time. I, for many years, just to finish this thought, Frederick, for the first 5 years of doing this, people thought I was stupid. People said, you're running a network where you don't charge for membership and you do events at cost and you don't take a cut from what happens. And I go, uh-huh. And they're going, you're doing this like dozens to hundreds of times and
Yep.
you're connecting
Yep.
people. And I go, uh-huh.
Yep.
And they're like, you're doing it all differently. Like, what's the end game for you? And I could
Yeah.
tell them what was working and the philanthropy I
Yeah.
ran, the
Yes.
film company that I ran, now my own business. But I would really take pride in the 80% of it that you could never map to be valuable for me.
Yeah. Exactly. And you never know when
In
it comes back
in
either.
in not yeah.
In what form? Yeah. If ever. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So
In 9 weeks, yeah. Go
no, go
ahead,
ahead.
please.
Please. I've got some connectivity here, so please finish the thought.
So in the first 9 weeks, I announced I was launching a startup. I closed my round. I wrote a book and I asked my network to promote it. It became a bestseller.
Yeah.
I told my network and did on a few podcasts I wanted to become more of a paid keynote speaker. And I just finished 3 opportunities this past March.
Great.
These were instant ROI
Yes.
from individuals for which I thought I had none, for which I was simply generous
Yes.
and they were honorable back, because I built a trust layer that when needed came through,
Yeah.
not when I wanted it to,
Yes.
because I do not approach relationships as if I help you, you have to help me.
Yeah. No, exactly. I work in different ways, and I give a lot completely for free or very, very cheap in terms of content and value. And then also on the other side, I charge a lot for being like on the board and really help with big deals on a global scale. So same thing there, like you help so many, I have no idea when it come back to you in whatever shape or form. So, and again, that's ultimately not what I'm doing because I love, like yourself, in a way we are teaching, and I love teaching and sharing and storytelling. So yeah, here we go. Which leads to the next thought here. So many people listening to this podcast are founders of businesses, and sometimes it's really, really lonely and you are isolated. How can founders be less isolated and get more trusted relationships so they can actually also share ideas and so on? So some tools or ideas?
As a founder myself, I don't think you can combat that sense of already always being isolated.
Yeah.
You put your entire life into something at that moment, whether it's your first time or your second, your third, or sometimes more.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately part of it. But the cycle that is devastating is your head's down, you're doing great work, and then you come up and go, here's my great work. I need you to buy it. I need you to invest in it. And then you put your head back down. The exact
Yeah.
opposite cycle is what has to actually happen. You have to go, as I've been trying to do. I'm in the trenches. I'm mapping my brain. I want to build this thing. Yes, I've tried that. Show up
Yeah.
here. I'm in the middle of it. And then I'm going to come out and I go, want to test it, want to raise. I've already built hundreds or thousands
Yes.
of conversations and relationships where people are ready for it. Founders think that they have to only focus on what's in the immediate to get through it in an incubator,
Yes.
in their build, whatever it might be. And if it's not just a startup, but just launching their small business, the only way people show up for you is if you show up for them first.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, which leads back to one thing you mentioned already, like to have a trusted network. So, how can you curate and create your own trusted network in a conscious way initially? Not transactional, but conscious way, building a network by helping others, connecting others, get them in a room over a dinner. Ideas around how to curate trusted communities. You've tried it already?
I mean, yeah, I wrote a book on it, so I should
Yeah,
have this answer, right?
exactly.
Uh, here's the real answer, right? Everyone listening already has more than they think.
Yeah,
It just may not be intentional or purposeful. The exercise I do every single week, I either publicly or just privately, I call and I thank people who have helped me. I don't ask them for something in return. I
yeah,
simply say, you were there for me when this happened. You
yes,
hired me for this. You made this introduction. When I raised the first closing of my pre-seed for my startup, I traced back and I thanked 40 something different people.
yep,
Some publicly, some not, because there are known investors. But I thank the person who initiated each of those chains, because that's what I stand for, honoring the chain of connections.
yeah, great.
It's a gratitude exercise.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
buddy, my buddy Chris Schembers, who runs 747 Club, is one of the best in this. I've learned a lot from him, and he's learned from me. We were the type of people everyone thought knew each other. Now we're great friends, but we actually never knew each other because we
Yeah,
operated in different silos,
yes,
which is my whole systems change approach of connect ecosystem builders.
yeah,
So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, okay, well, I'm proud of my life or I want more out of my life, who helped get you to where you are? Who got you that thing that you couldn't have gotten on your own? Who brought you? If you just express gratitude, step one, and then step two, say, if you ever want to catch up more and I'd love to learn how I can help you,
yep,
you may not be able to help everyone. But if you can help some, you can literally transform that network into a community.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing you got to be really clear on, it's not your business network. It's not just one thing.
Yeah.
Whether you're a parent or a founder or a care provider, there are people all around you that are opportunities to build trust with, where you don't know what's sitting on the other side of their relationship value until you bridge that trust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. Yeah, so I have just before I left the office the other week, I was just like the TV series Kramer sliding through the door in the office, and they're like, "Okay, here it comes."
Mhm.
Like, what is the ask? Like, there is no ask. I'm just here to say thanks for last time, or in the next office, like, "Oh yes, I'm here to say wishing you a very nice weekend." They're like, "Is that a catch?" No, there's no catch. Just have a nice weekend. People are
It
surprised for kindness and gratefulness
they're
because
they're they're starved for it,
yeah, and
and yet they
thank
don't
you.
see the advantage of
Yeah,
doing it themselves.
yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So which leads to the opposite of trusted relationship. How can the wrong person in a trusted circle do more damage than they understand themselves to the whole community potentially?
I mean, I've had some really bad apples in my network. I've been
Yeah,
fortunate to purge most of them before they joined or soon after.
yeah,
But I've had people come in, right? Like
yeah,
the
totally.
most notable one recently. There's a woman who's not in my community. I've not invited her to my conference, to my events in many years. I've always had that feeling that there wasn't the right there wasn't there. A major article just came out exposing her as a fake family office,
Yeah,
like a known jewelry
yeah,
family she
yeah,
said she was part of. So far as we can all tell, lie.
yeah,
But here's what bothered me. Every call she made of me was about how I could do something to help her that would help me.
yeah,
Every meeting she showed up to, or every event we were at, not the ones I run, but the ones where we showed up, she was always late. And anytime I was talking with her and somebody else, and somebody more important than the two of us or three of us walked in the room, she left us as if we didn't matter to
yeah,
latch
yeah.
herself onto them.
Yeah, I got the point. Yeah,
She showed it. I relegated her out of my network. Other people, because of thinking of the access she had, kept her in, and it poisoned more and more people because of what being in that orbit is.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, valid point. Which leads to is it better to be known or trusted? And what's the difference?
You know, there's a great Simpsons episode that
Yeah.
I love, um, where Montgomery Burns tries to do good for the only time. And among other things, he tries to bring like the Loch Ness monster to Lake Springfield to show everyone it exists, and then it like destroys everything and kills people.
Yep.
And Smithers is comforting him, and Miss Smithers goes something like, well, you tried, sir, you tried. And Burns goes, you know, it's so easy to be bad. You just have to do one bad thing. To do good, you have to keep doing good
Yes.
every single time. So if you want to be known, you can be known for good or bad. It doesn't mean you're known, it means you're visibly recognized. If you want to be trusted, it means you're seen. It means that you're valued in a room you're not in.
Yep.
And that is the difference. I've been fortunate to meet some incredible celebrities and billionaires. And there are some, I've met them. There are others that I have the utmost respect for them
Yes.
as I got to know them because of how they show up and who they are and what they do. And that is because we built trust that wasn't here where they are. You see them in
Yep.
movies, you buy or invest in what they do. Little old me, maybe you read my book once in a while or hear
Yeah.
me talk on a podcast. But in our worlds, we are just two people who trust each other. And
Exactly.
trust is
Yeah.
therefore much more key.
Yeah, and I also like think about like leveling with people because ultimately if people are elderly or senior or junior for that matter, Like just level with people where they are. It will be a much more comfortable conversation. But of course, I'm not saying you should respect anyone. That's not what I'm saying. But I've been working also with lots of yeah people who got a lot of money and power over the years. And if you level with them, not try to put yourself on a high horse, it can be very refreshing for both parties because you can have a much more interesting conversation. Uh, at the same time, like you said yourself, we also met a number of billionaires over the years. They often ask a lot of questions. They talk very, very little about their own achievements. Why? Because they don't need to. And
Mhm.
if you are too keen, too salesy, or too interested to push your own agenda or come with an ask, guess what? You will be filled it out quite quickly because that's not why they gave you the airtime, so to speak. Um, and lead by value instead of the big ask, just like common practice and an idea. Feel free to add to that.
I mean, it's really, really hard. It's really dangerous to be around somebody who has something to prove.
Yeah,
It is much better to be around somebody whose humility just seeps through,
yeah,
and one we view as a strength, that go-getter, high achiever to prove they are the best at X. And the humble person is much more settled
yeah,
in their purpose. They don't need to prove it. Those are the more valuable people.
yeah, I agree. So some of the audience is also very young. We have got two co-hosts which are not here today. They're like 2021, Ivan and Charlie, my sons. They've also been here for many of the episodes. So rewind your career. What is earliest when you start out? Is it trust or money?
I mean, I'm a classical composer, so you set out to have a really long career where no one listens to your music, and then you
Yeah.
die, and then people go, he was great, right? And then my
Afterwards.
other career, right, until I got to this was to be in the nonprofit space where you're
Yeah,
constantly begging people to money to solve a problem that society should solve but
indeed.
doesn't. So, those are my lofty aspirations. I did this from like small town in northern Florida to New York City, and I've thrived here, but I thrived because a few people in my early 20s brought me to something, introduced me to someone because they wanted to pay it forward the way it had happened to them.
Yep.
And I can go back to two people, a woman who was I called my adopted grandmother in New York, a woman named Abby Belkin,
Yep.
and one of my high school buddies, my brother's year, named Bronny. And the two of them started two different ripple effects in my life that I can backtrack in New York to everything I have now
Right.
comes from one of the two of them. So when you were younger and you were building this and you're trying
Yeah.
to think about who you went to high school with, who you grew up with, who you went to college with, if you were lucky to do that, who you started your first job with, you don't think of those things as long term. You think of them as of the moment. Every opportunity I have in my life, from my book success, my startup rising, my community, my global business, the world of being this weird connector sometimes people listen to,
Yep.
it all comes from somebody where if I had dismissed them because I didn't see the immediate value, I would be lacking, I
Yep.
would be less, something would not have happened. And I am really good at this, and I cannot predict exactly what will happen from building a relationship now to where it
Yep.
will go in the
Yeah,
future. And I
exactly.
study this space.
Yes.
So anyone who's younger, build friendships,
Yep.
build things, show up in different ways. The more diverse your network, that's the third principle,
Yes.
the better it is. So if you are sitting here and what you love is football or rugby or cricket or baseball, and
Yep.
you go to a bunch of sporting events, you make a bunch of friends, and you're in finance, or you want to be a teacher or a lawyer, and you meet all the people who do that, your life gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
If you happen to also love sci-fi and join a book club that doesn't jive with the fact you're some like beefy rugby player or
Yep.
whatever it might be, you're an alpha male finance dude, but you just love it, your network is stronger than the people who are succeeding in their limited network because eventually it becomes more and more limiting.
Yes.
and you're missing opportunity, and you will never know you did it because you made no active practice to constantly build into worlds you're not part of, build with relationships with people who do not look like you or talk like you, ages, gender, identity, heritage, net worth. Because I can track back, besides those two people, over 100 people who I would have never thought to be influential in my life.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't given them the time of day, I would not just, I would have less, I wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't have been in New York. My
Yes.
career probably would have tanked years ago. Uh, my mental health challenges, my artistry, the success in that, none of that would exist to what I wanted it to work to be
Yeah.
unless I focused on a diverse network based
Yes.
on trust and action.
Yeah. So as many people think they might have like an opportunity problem, what really David is highlighting here more than anything is an access problem. And if you then have those relationships or interests or trust you built already upon, then you don't have the same access problem. And that means that also the opportunities are in a strange way unlocking themselves.
Mhm.
And like you said about like those two people specifically, for many people listening, that person might be like a virtual mentor. It might be a book you've read or someone you've seen in a movie or on the news. And ultimately, they have had a very big impact on like where you might be like physically or mentally or even career-wise. And the same thing, like if someone had like tried to pre-plan my life, they need to have hugely vivid imagination because I've been working more than 50 countries, traveling like 100.
Yeah,
Like it's so random, many things that it seems to happen. Same with opportunities, all the time. Strange.
and so I want to give two examples for people to understand as lofty or successful as we might seem.
Please.
It's all practical and human, right? So as a composer, I got a commission for a ballet at the Joyce Theater in New York with a former Major Joffrey ballet dancer because in college I lent a vacuum to a friend so her parents could help clean her apartment to avoid her having to not get the security deposit back.
Yeah.
They remembered me when they held some fancy donor Joffrey ABT City Ballet dance party in New York. That's where I met my friend Davis, and that's a year later where I had a ballet at the Joyce.
Yeah.
And my mom had a family friend. I called her my adopted grandmother in Florida. She would feed me. I would go over, I would talk to her about my life. She would ridicule me. I would play piano. She wouldn't tell me it was any good. She would feed me borscht, and I hate red beets. Like, I have five things on this planet I can't eat. Like, do not feed me borscht. She knew it. I had to keep eating it, and I stomached it. I sometimes walked away in tears.
Yeah.
She was hardening me for the life she thought I should
Yeah,
have.
exactly.
And when I
Yeah.
got to New York, she called up her friend Abby and she said, "You got to have David over for dinner. He's like a grandson to me." That opened up one of those two worlds for
Yes.
me. I ate soup I hate and was put into tears as a kid. And I let somebody a vacuum cleaner, and opportunities came from that. This is not just, oh my God, you were at a family office event and a charity event, and you met Ray Dalio and then you got to
Yep.
work for him. You must be so lucky. Or you took over this charity and then you got to work with Itzhak Perlman
Yes.
and Gil Shaham and Pinchas Zuckerman. Like, you must be so lucky. And I'm thinking, there is no way from eating borscht that you think you can get to that.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that is the exact trajectory when I was a 11-year-old barely stomaching, and she was a good cook. It just,
Yeah.
I don't like red beets.
Yeah, no, exactly. Fair point. So we've been a little bit all over the place in terms of trust and so on. So the podcast name is Invest in You. What does investing in yourself mean?
You know, you could spend your whole life wishing you had something that you don't have. And you can spend your whole life blaming other people for your lack of opportunity.
Yeah.
And you can, like most people, never achieve what you think your dreams are because you think your dreams were handed to you to achieve. If you become more purposeful and intentional and you love the journey of what you do, you give yourself the permission not just to be your great self, but to
Yep.
understand how people hear you, how you come across, to understand the importance of being mindful, of pause, of mental health, the importance of family and health above all else. Whichever variation, wherever you live, if you live by principles that you want to be a more generous person than people do unto you want to be more curious about others, and you want to maintain that. If you do that right and you're intentional, the way I hopefully have been able to explain to people the reason a community should be such, to insist that everyone around you upholds those same standards or works towards them
Yep.
that you do, then when life throws you something that is way less than ideal, for me that was divorce, that was COVID, that was my dad passing, that was getting so sick when I was a kid I nearly died, that was running a charity that had major financial losses during the housing bubble recession. My narrative could be a really crappy one, but I can tell you who showed up for me because I
Yep.
did enough self work to build a relationship that the outcome, it saved me time and time again.
Yeah. So the self work, I just like to highlight the importance of that is the reason why you now can do other help. You can help others because you help yourself first. You can actually stand on those experiences. So yeah, well done, and thanks for the hardship that allows you to share the growth opportunities for other people now today. So the whole conversation has been a very long reminder for all of us that a strong relationship is not a side game, it is the game. And don't look too shallow into networking. Um, it should be really about be trusted connections, and we're both in this space. We see the benefits of this, so feel free to still borrow, take any ideas from us you can to make your life richer with the gratitude, whatever that might be to you. So for people who love to find out more about yourself, David, including to find your book, which I will of course link, how can people find out more about yourself?
So I finally did, I rebuilt the thing I built 20 years ago. I rebuilt davidhoman.com
Yeah.
because I have several businesses, a book, speaking,
Yes.
tech, all these different things. I put it in one place so my mother could keep track, and now everyone could keep
Yeah.
track. Within that is my global community and all the other stuff and the links to the book and the rest. If somebody's a connector, I always want to meet them. I run a network that is meant to build value for those that bring value to others by building communities and ecosystems.
Perfect.
And anyone who's found value in this, like the real opportunity isn't to come and to thank us, it's to thank the people who they have been grateful to.
Yes.
And then to try to set that up as a ripple effect. Because if we truly invest in ourselves, what we're doing is we're preparing ourselves for that moment where we can truly show up for another. That's what my work is. It's what I try to do every single day is to be generous and strategic enough that I can help people that couldn't otherwise help themselves.
Yeah, and I also like the term that many people have shared in terms of like pay it forward. So the right time to start with anything from charity to help others is not to get rich and then help others. It's just like help people along the way will get you faster to your final destination, whatever that might be, and will get you into better habits as well to help along the way. So yeah, I would love to hear some closing words from you for people all over the world. It can be anything at all, and I'll zip for now.
You know, I was sitting with my son Max, who's now 9, when he was 4. He's a really amazing kid. And he said to me, because I like to play the lottery. It's one of my addictions. I like to dream about how
Yep.
I'd help people and how I'd punish the people who've been horrible to me by naming bathroom stalls after them in like concert halls. I'm gonna go poop into such and such.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just my
yeah,
dream with it. And one day he says to me, this is like a 4.5-year-old, like,
yeah,
you know what I'm gonna do if I'm rich? I go, what, Max? Like, what do you want to do? He's like, I'm gonna open up a store. We're gonna have fireworks and candy and puppy dogs, which comes from
yeah,
The Simpsons. We're gonna have race cars. And I was like, that sounds like the coolest store ever. Like, so you're gonna like get all this stuff there, and then you're gonna like have people come and like you're gonna sell it to them. And he goes, why do I need to sell it to them?
yeah,
They should just come and take it.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
rich.
Yeah, love
And
it.
like in his world, like if you have
Yes.
abundance, then you have something to
Yeah,
give.
exactly.
And like the innocence of children is they think that the more and more they get in their lives,
Yeah,
the more they can share it and build friendships. And the opposite is true when we try to survive as humans of thinking, well, how can I get more? How can I get more? How can I get more? And no one thinks when they exit a multi-billion-dollar company, they
yes.
don't think I'm going to set up a store. Well, they definitely don't think that for like fireworks, candy, puppy dogs, and race
Yep, yep.
cars. But like, wouldn't it be great if somebody who exited a company did that and they just give it,
Yeah,
right? We lose our imagination when we think our imagination's supposed to no longer be valuable. And we lose our sense of community when we think no one wants us to be part of theirs.
yes.
And it is just not hard. It's not hard to be grateful to somebody who's helped you. It's not hard to offer an act of kindness and just do it. It's not hard to go into somebody's office and say, I hope you have a great weekend. Like we feel so great. So, how can we get the world better addicted to specifically that spirit of
Yep.
not just the pay it forward, not just that generous circle, but the necessity for it? We've lost that because we think our survival matters more than our humanity. But the only thing we have really is a sense of humanity we wish we would keep for those kids that keep on dreaming.
Yeah. Just to add to what you just said there, to keep it super short, in the world of AI, the connection and to be authentic is ultimately the survival of the human race as we are today. So yeah, keep it up, guys. Thank you all for listening to the very end. Until next time.